Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to Lesson 5 on the powers of the Potus. In this last lesson, we're going to look at the executive branch beyond the president. And we're going to look at some of the key figures in the executive branch, including the vice president, chief of staff, cabinet, and other key advisors to the president, also federal agencies. So, number one, or really the number two figure in the executive branch, number one after the president would be the vice president. Here you see President Trump, Vice President Pence. Vice President's number one job is to be second in line in the presidency. If there is something wrong that happens to the president, if the president dies, if the president is incapacitated in some way, the vice president has to be ready to step in and act as president. For example, if President Trump had surgery and was knocked out, Mike Pence has to step in and act as president during that time and make any decisions as president. Vice president's job goes beyond just being there in case the president is incapacitated or dies. They also are the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. If the Senate is tied 50-50, as you know, there's an even number, 2 for each state. The vice president breaks the tie so that way the bill can move forward. This gives, especially in a very tightly divided Congress like we have right now, the executive branch a little bit more sway and power within the legislative branch. And it gives them a bit more of a voice in the lawmaking process. So here we see our vice president right now, Mike Pence. As vice president, usually selected for a number of reasons. Your experience, bringing balance to a ticket. Maybe you're from a swing state that can help the president get elected. And the power of the vice president when they're in office is by the choice of the president. We've seen some vice presidents recently take on a very commanding leading role within the presidency's administration. Like, for example, Richard Cheney under President Bush, Joe Biden under President Obama, and now Vice President Pence, all have taken pretty commanding roles within the administration. Whereas if you look really in the vice presidency in its inception, and it was mostly an ignored position. So we see that the vice presidency has definitely become a lot more powerful in the modern presidency. Other important figures in the executive branch include the White House Chief of Staff. Here you see the current Chief of Staff, Kelly, talking and advising President Trump. They're often referred to as the gatekeeper of the president. They're often seen as their chief advisor on political matters, on running their administration. They kind of keep the White House running. They set the schedule, the agenda. All the people that work in the White House kind of answer to the chief of staff first. So they're a powerful figure within the White House. One that you see on the news quite a bit is the press secretary. Here you see Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the current White House press secretary. They run the public media relations. They're the chief presidential spokesperson. They meet with the media almost daily to kind of talk to them about what the president's doing, to reinforce the president's agenda and answer any questions that anybody has about what the president's and the administration's agenda is. Beyond that is the cabinet. This is the 15 core advisors, but also there are department heads that are almost at cabinet level, like the head of the FBI, head of the CIA, EPA, and others. These advisors are experts in an area of interest in the federal government. So somebody has experience in diplomacy, they're going to work in the State Department, be maybe the Secretary of State. Somebody has experience in the military, they would be a natural fit for the Secretary of Defense. They also administrate federal agencies that relate to their area. So if you're the Attorney General in charge of the Justice Department, you oversee the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, and other law enforcement agencies. Many of these federal satellite agencies all are under the supervision of members of the cabinet. Some other key agencies previously mentioned include the FBI, which deals with federal level crimes, Secret Service, they're the people that are in charge of protecting the president and other high-ranking officials, and strangely dealing with counterfeiting. The DEA helps prevent the federal drug trade. A lot of times you'll hear of federal agencies by their acronyms, CIA, FBI, They're sometimes even referred to as alphabet agencies. You may have heard of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, of others. And you can see on the slides, each one is affiliated with different, under the supervision of different cabinet heads, cabinet members. Like Homeland Security has the National Security Advisor, the NSA, the CIA, all answering to them. The Joint Chiefs of Staff in every branch of the military answers to the Secretary of Defense. So this, in the IRS, of course, everybody's favorite, answers to the Treasury. As you can see, the map of the executive branch and the cabinet is pretty expansive. We could even bring it out to each agency that's connected to each of those cabinet members. So for your last executive branch power question, this is a research one. I want you to find the names of 2 current members of the cabinet and get a short description of the federal department that they supervise. And look a little bit into the background and why do you think that this person was chosen to coordinate the president's policy in this area of government. That concludes your powers of the president and the POTUS and the executive branch set of lessons. Thanks for watching. Look forward to talking to you in class and reading your answers on Edmodo. Have a presidential day.